let me know if my screen is visible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's visible, right? Just a minute. So, welcome to Infinity Maths. I myself, I'm an alum of IIT Kharagpur. I'm from the batch of 2007 to 2011 chemical engineer. Just a little bit of introduction of myself. Yes, I am a BTech from IIT Kharagpur with an All India rank of 1436 and CFA from United States. I got 100% in maths in 10th and in 12th also 98. Have been teaching around more than 12 plus years along with corporate world. I have worked in companies like Reliance, Swiggy, Topper. If anybody ever heard about the name of the company called Topper, I was the director of content there and I hired more than 100 plus maths teachers and I've interviewed 800, at least 800 maths teachers in India. So I strongly believe that online education is something that can help in getting quality education, at least in places where that much of quality teachers and everything are not there. Just a little bit introduction. With that, I will start the class today. There is just a minute. Before that, let me just a minute. Yeah. So there are certain tips that you should follow to succeed in math. I will negate my own statement. These are not tips. These are the only ways. What I found in most of the students is when I gave the test, everybody was in a hurry to finish it in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. But that is not the right way. Nobody is you are not missing a bus or a train, right? That you have to do it in 2-3 minutes. Instead of that, you are making mistakes. That's why I always say understand the concept and don't jump the steps. That's why my classes, next time when we join the classes, the questions will all have negative marks, because when you go for higher exams after 11, 12 engineering, every questions have 11 negative marks. If you answer it wrong, you get negative marks. So my questions will next onwards, when your real course starts, it will have negative marks. So if you try to guess it or answer it fast and get it wrong, instead of getting +2 in that question, marks will be deducted by 1. So don't hurry and rush. Practice 10-15 questions daily without fail that I will be giving. Those will be slowly increasing from level 1. Yeah, level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4. Slowly it will be increasing. Don't do this like I will practice 40 questions today and next 3 days no questions. This doesn't help it. Ask doubts however silly it is. There is nothing called a good or a bad doubt. And this I will explain later, because you all might not be aware much of case studies. Generally, international schools, colleges like Harvard and Stanford, they have this case study. Every chapter has 4 to 5 concepts, and in a month, maximum 2 chapters to 3 chapters will be covered. So write these 8 to 10 concepts in a sticky note and read it every day. Again, remember, these are concepts and not formulas. These are concepts. I am not asking you to mug up the formulas and everything. These are just concepts that you have to actually write it. If you write it and read it every day for 5 minutes, you will never forget these concepts. Now, if today you are making excuses, your tomorrow after 2-3 years life will be this complicated like this. If today you are making this effort of solving and working in a disciplined way, after 3-4 years your life will be much simpler. Remember that. So excuses don't work. That today I could not do the questions for this reason, that reason, it doesn't work. Today if you make excuses, tomorrow in exams after 2-3 years, you will face a lot of problem. But today, if you work hard in a disciplined way, after 2-3 years, life will be a cakewalk. So with that, so I will be starting the data handling probability. Probability is such a kind of a chapter which will not only leave 8th standard, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, engineering, it will not leave you. It will get complicated and complicated and complicated. It will not leave you. This is that kind of chapter. Probability, and in future you will come to know permutation combinations. This chapter will go on till even after 12th engineering. So this is one of the considers was the toughest chapter, which doesn't have only one formula, but still the subject is that vast. So there's nothing to fear about it. Let's start. So what are you going to learn today? You will learn what is probability. Actually, it is a likelihood of an event or an occurrence. We will also learn what is events, and you will finally calculate probability. So these are the 3 things that you will be majorly learning today. Now, what is probability, right? Just let me start the chat box also so that you can also participate. You'd have heard a statement lot many times, like while watching cricket or something, the match is evenly poised. Either side could win from here. What does that mean? Just write in a layman terms. What does that statement mean, you think, when somebody says like this? You can write in chat. Yeah. What does that mean? Just layman. Evenly poised. Think about that like what evenly poised. What does that mean? Evenly. Either this team or the opponent could win this match. Yes, perfect. So which means both have 50-50 chances of winning the match. Just a minute, huh? Both evenly poised. That means you cannot say which team is going to win, which means 50% chance is of one team and 50% chance is of other team to win, which we call in terms of probability half chances of one team to win, half chances of other team to win. You would have seen in a cricket match that this kind of scores probability, win probability goes on, right? You would have seen many times, somebody would have watched cricket, you would have seen like win probability. It varies. The moment a team plays good, the win probability increases. This was of the last World Cup, if you remember, anybody have watched India-Pakistan match. Okay, slowly, then again the probability of India increase. So probability is a thing which is used in everywhere, right from data analytics to sports, everywhere. Now what I will do is that you would have heard our statements like this, mom saying, please carry your raincoat. Probably it will rain, right? You would have heard such statements. Or can you tell me, write any more such statements which you can, anything like you can think of similar statements? Like probably it will rain today, something probably. Few statements. Just write few statements where you think you use probability in daily terms. Just in a speaking term also. Think of it because the more you think, you will be able to now see, this is the thing. We have to start thinking. Think of statements. Either this, there might be a surprise. Yes, probability of a surprise test. Yes, there is a chance. Probability of a surprise test. Okay, let me write it. Probability of a surprise test. Test will either happen or not happen, right? Of a surprise test. You would have heard many times, like parents saying that probably the train might get delayed. Many times, right? The probably the train. This is a very common statement. The train might get delayed. So every event can be related to probability. So these are the statements that you are seeing. When we say probability, that it might get delayed. Now, what are the chances? To calculate the chance is only probability. Now let's do a group activity. I asked you all to sit with a one rupee or 2 rupee coin. Okay. Just do one thing. Toss that coin 5 times and tell me how many heads you got and how many tails you got. Sorry, I think I wrote both got 2 heads and 3 tails. Okay. 2 heads and 3 tails. Both got the same thing. 2 by 3, that is 0.66. Remember this, 2 heads and 3 tails. Acha, she got 3 tails. Huh, say, right. Remember this data, okay? You will be needing it next. So what did you do? Don't forget this data that you got 2 heads and 3 tails. I'll be needing it. So this tossing of coin is known as the experiment. So whenever in a probability it's called, what is an experiment? This tossing of coin is the experiment. There are only 2 results possible. Either a head will appear or a tail will appear. These are known as outcomes. These are known as outcome. Now, if you have tossed the coin 5 times, each outcome, or whenever each outcome is known as an event. So first time if a head has come, that is an event. Next time a tail has come, that is an event, right? There are few other characteristics of probability. Experiments are random. Experiments are random. If first toss you have got head, you cannot say next toss you will get head or tail. One event has no relation with the second event. All outcomes are equally likely. That means you will get either a head or a tail. You cannot, both has 50-50 chances. Or because in probability, all outcomes are equally likely. It is not that the chance of getting head is 70% or tail is 30%. No, all outcomes are equally likely. Now the outcomes are discrete, like one head, one tail, you can measure, right? Like 1, 2, 3 kind of a thing. That's why this is called discrete probability. In higher class, you will be able to understand there is something called continuous probability also, right? Now, or do that experiment 5 more times and add it and tell me. Okay. 5 more times and tell me how many heads. Add it to previous thing and to give me total. So 3 heads and 2 tails. Shwasni, you got. So previously you got 2 heads, right? Yes. So total, now you got 5. So, Shwasni, 5 heads, right? Shwasni, what is the total heads?
Sir, first, yes.
Huh. Wait. This time you got 3 heads. Previous time you got how many? Wait.
2 heads.
2 head, na? So you got total 5 heads, 5 tails, right? You both? Right. 5 heads, 5 tails. Huh.
Yes.
Is this perfect?
Yes, sir.
Now let's calculate this ratio. It is coming to be 5 head by tail. It is coming to be how much? 5 by 5, right? That is equal to 1. 5 by 5, that is equal to 1. Now, what is this probability? Why I told all events are equally likely? Did you notice a pattern? When you did 5 times, there was still discrepancy. Like head was coming more, tail was coming less. When you did this 10 times, almost this discrepancy got removed. You are getting now head and tail equally. So the more you do it, you will see finally head and tail will come equal number of times. That's why they are called equally likely. You yourself did and check. If you do it for 5 more times, 10 more times. So theoretically speaking, if you do it for infinite time, you should get head and tail equal number of times. But remember, in statistically probability when we speak, even if you do 30 times, you will get head and tail equal. It will start coming because each event has equal likely chances of occurrence. Okay. Now I will do, wait a minute, this is not required because we have already reached it. You saw the results, right? 5, 10, 15 times. Initially it was head 10 was less. And then finally it is coming equal because that's the theory of probability. Let's practice few questions. I told, like you toss a coin, what is the outcome? Head or tail? So a die is rolled once. What is the outcome? You are, yes. Yes, die is rolled once. The outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only these 6 numbers can come, right? A coin is tossed 2 times. What are the outcomes? A coin is tossed 2 times. What are the outcomes? If you toss it 1 time, not 2 times, if you are doing it 2 times, think about it. Once when you toss, it can be head or tail. What are the combinations possible? Think about on those lines. What are the combinations possible? Because finding outcomes is very, very necessary. Yes. Head, head, tail, tail, head, head, tail, tail, right? Right. It will be 4 outcomes are there, right? Head, head, tail, tail, head, tail, tail, head. Now you are able to find the outcomes, right? Now, what are the outcomes of this? A bag has 4 red and 3 white balls. 2 balls are taken at once. What are the outcomes? A bag has 4 red and 3 white balls. I'm just taking 2 balls. What are the outcomes possible? Think of it. Just a bag is there, 4 red, 3 white balls. You are taking out 2 balls from there. What are the outcomes, Ananya? Yes, but both of you told right, but you missed the occurrence. Yes, it can be red, red, right? It can be red, red. It can be white, white. It could be red, white also and white, red also. There are 4 outcomes, which when you draw, you missed one outcome. It could be the order and sequence, right? You can get, I can get red ball once, or I can get before also white ball. So understanding the outcomes is very necessary because the denominator of probability is always the outcome. Both of you told white and red, but it could be red and white also. It could be red and white also. So what is probability? If I say, now if I ask you to calculate probability, if I say what is the probability that both the balls are white? So what is the event here? Event is both balls are white, right? If I ask you both balls are white. So how many times that event is occurring in this outcome? Once. So probability will be nothing but 1 by 4. There is 1/4 chance that you might get 2 white balls. So probability is number of times that make an event divided by total number of outcomes of the experiment. Let's start with simple questions. Slowly we'll solve tough questions. A coin is tossed once. What is the probability of getting a head? Half, right? Because there can be 2 things, head or tail can appear. So number of outcomes is 2. And I am asking the probability of getting head, which is 1. So 1 by 2, very simple. Okay. A die is rolled once. What is the probability that getting an even number? Try to solve it. No. Think more. Ananya has got it right. But Suhashi, what is your answer? You have written 2 answers, I guess so. No, 4 by 6 is wrong. See, try to understand this. How many outcomes are there? If you have rolled a die, outcome will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So their denominator will be 6 because there are 6 outcome. Now, what is the event here? Probability of getting an even number. Which are even number? 2 is an even number. 4 is an even number. 6 is an even number. So all together 3 even numbers are there, right? So it will be 3 by 6. That's why I say don't do in a hurry. Think about it. 3 by 6, which is equal to half, right? There are only 3 even numbers, right? Now let's get into little more tougher questions. What is the chance that your birthday is on Monday? Think of it. These questions will not get in book. Think more you think, the more you will be able to understand and learn. Take your time and think. One hint I am giving, birthday can be on any of the day of the week. Think on those lines. Birthday can be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Ah, yeah, she got it. Take this hint, Ananya. Birthday can be in any of the 7 days. What is the probability that it's a Monday? Think on those lines. Yes, now you got it after the hint. So here again, what are the outcome? Outcome is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So possible birthday can only come on any of the 7 days. So my outcome will be 7. What is the probability that is on Monday? Monday can only be a 1 day. So the probability is of having a birthday on a Monday is 1 by 7. So what is the probability that your birthday is in a weekend? Yes, 2 by 7 because for Saturday and sorry, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. Saturday and Sunday are considered as the weekend. So there are 2 weekends. So out of 7, 2 cases are there in which you can have a probability that your birthday is on weekend. Now let's solve even better questions. 2 coins are tossed together. Okay. What is the probability of getting no heads? Outcomes we did very recently, right? 2 coins are tossed together, the outcomes. What is the probability of getting no heads? Yes, the probability of getting no heads is 1 by 4 because what can happen? Head, head, tail, tail, head, tail, tail, head, tail, head, right? So there are 4 outcomes out of which no head means this is the case that is being talked about, which comes 1. So 1 by 4 is the probability. Now 3 coins are tossed together. Find me the probability of getting at least 1 head. Now you will slowly understand. I will tell come later. You try to solve this first. There is another way actually. Read the question again. Yes. Now, yeah. 1/4 was there. Probability of getting at least one head, right? At least one head. I am very sure you would have done what? You would have written on paper head, 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 tail, 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 like this, right? I am very sure you would have done this way. Yes or no? Now, if I increase it to 4 coin, 5 coin, 6 coin, will you always write like this in a paper and do it? There is another way of doing it. Did you notice when there was one coin, the number of outcome was head and tail 2. When there are 2 coins, the number of outcomes became 2 into 2, that is 4. When there are 3 coins, the number of outcomes became 2 into 2 into 2 is 8, right? So if in a single event, the outcomes are X, X can be supposed like in a Ludo dice, it is 6 outcome, right? In a single event, there are 6 outcome. When you do that multiple times, it just gets multiplied. If you do the toss 4 times, it will become 16. It will do 5 times, it will become 32. Understanding? Now, this is called the placeholder approach. If I am tossing 3 coins, I will not write all the places. I will just make 3 empty spaces. What is the probability of getting at least one head? If I try to write the heads, it will be more. Only one case is there when I will not have one head. Which will be the case? That will be all coming tails. So if there are 3, I will make 3 placeholders, and I know this is the only condition I have to remove. So total outcomes is how much? 2 into 2 into 2, 8. From that, I have to remove one outcome. Then only I will be able to 8 minus 1 divided by 8, which is 7 by 8. Your method of working worked manually, head, tail writing. But if I increase the number of coins, you will not be able to write it. Like the next question. 6 coins are tossed together. Probability of getting one head. Think of the approach that I told. How many outcomes will be there? 6 coins are tossed together. And the placeholder approach. Placeholder approach. Take your time and do it. Yes, now you all are getting it right, right? 6 by 64. Because when 6 coins are tossed, number of outcomes is 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, 5 times, 6 times, right? 3, 6, 6 times, which is 64. Now, when anybody will give you problem, you will not write head, tail like this. You will do using this placeholder approach. This is the actual approach. And outcomes what? I will place 3, 4, 5, 6. probability of getting one head. That one head can come at first place, second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place. So the possible events are only 6. So the probability is 6 by 64, which is equal to 3 by 32. Now you understood how to do it using the placeholder approach. Now let's do another question. Two die are rolled together. Again, use the same concept I taught you. What is the probability of getting a sum of 2 or 3? Two die are rolled together. Wrong, Ananya. Think more. Denominator is right, but numerator is wrong, Shwasni. Denominator is right, numerator is wrong. How can you think? Put placeholders. How can you get sum of 2 and 3? No. One hint. If I make this place like this, what numbers I have to put here? How many cases? Suppose I place 2 like this, right? What numbers will you put so that the sum comes 2 or 3? From the throw of dice, what numbers will you put in the fill in the blanks?
2 or 1.
If the sum is 2, what will you put? If the sum
1,
is
1.
3, what will you put? First, let's make the sum is 2. If I have to make the sum as 2, what will you put?
1, 1.
1, 1. Okay. 1, 1. If the sum is 3, what will you
2,
put?
1.
2, 1.
Why not 1, 2?
1, 2.
So how many cases you got? You got 3 cases. So the probability is 3. And what I told, 1 die, 6 is the outcome. 2
Sir, but sir, can't we get 1 in first time and like
1, 1, you cannot differentiate it, right? Like red and white ball, white and red you can differentiate, right? First time you're getting red. I am rolling the 2 die together. When you roll the 2 die together, 2 dice are thrown together, there will be only 2 places to fill, right? Only one case will be happening if both places 1 come, then only you can make the sum as 2, right? But if the first die shows 2, second die shows 1, then also sum will be 3. If the first die shows 1 and the second die shows 2, then also the sum will be 3. So there are 3 possible cases in which, in this case, you are getting sum as 2. In these 2 cases, you are getting sum as 3. And total number of cases, I told you have to multiply 6 into 6, 36. So probability of getting a sum of 2 or 3 is nothing but 3 by 36, right? Which is 1 by 12. Now get me the probability of getting a sum of 5. Same question. Just do again. Sum of 5. Think, how can you get 5?
2, 3, 3, 2,
5 replace 1 by
4, 1. No. 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 1, 1, 4. Interval.
Yes, now you are getting it right. 5 can only come only in 4 cases. If it is 4 and 1, if it is 1 and 4, if it is 2 and 3, if it is 3 and 2. So there are only 4 cases. So 4 divided by 36 is the answer. So are you all finding this probability interesting now?
Yes, sir.
So these are the type of questions which you need to practice if you want to contest Olympiads or higher level exams. So only solving the basic NCERT and this approach will not help you to solve complicated problems. So I will now discuss more about the course structure, how my actual course classes will be. There will be live classes, 2 classes per week. There will be daily quizzes. The quizzes, the way you saw initially, slowly I increase the complexity of the problem. So if I will be teaching probability, in 15 days, you will be at least have to practice more than 150 to 200 questions. And the last 50 to 60 will be really very tough. They will train you for higher level exams in maths. And there will be a separate section called Olympiad section. If you are willing to do it, you should contest for it. You should try for it. Then there will be detailed monthly tests the way it is done in generally schools. The batches will be small. Then there will be monthly case study, which you cannot solve yourself. You have to solve it in groups. The case study has to be presented. Somebody has to make a PPT and present it. And I will show you an example of case study. Then you might be able to understand what is the concept of case studies. Okay. And then there will be 2 live classes. But these are the more details. All the classes will be recorded and you will be able to find those recorded classes on the app as well as on the laptop. There will be 3,000 practice questions plus a different section of Olympiad. If somebody is willing for data, that is an optional, but this is mandatory. This amount of questions, and out of this 3,000 question, hardly 200 will be from your books. The rest will not be from the books. If you do only book level question, you will be able to only crack school exams and not higher level exams. So these are the major things that were there. Now I will show you the case study. Just wait, give me a minute. I will stop sharing my screen. I want to show you how a case study looks like. It's a class 7 case study. Okay. So just give me a moment. So case studies shows you the similarity what is there with today's world. Okay. Now you see. So don't get what do you call frightened by the length of the case study. It's a big case study. Okay. It's a big case study. Okay. That's why I told you have to solve in a group. I will tell you what this case study is all about. Okay. What happens? There is a restaurant owner that Meghna is a very popular. If somebody is in Bangalore, they would be knowing. Just like Pista House is in Hyderabad, right? Very popular. So that restaurant chain owner thinks that he wants to start online restaurant. Okay. Some specific cuisine. He is confused. Should he start North Indian? Should he start Chinese, pizza, or South Indian? So he calls all the head chefs. Now, when he calls all the head chefs, he tells, go to the market and find me like top 10 restaurants in North India, how many orders they are doing it, right? So the chef goes and North Indian chef finds, okay, for top restaurant, these are the data. Okay, similarly, the Chinese chef finds for the Chinese restaurant. Now he tells, okay, the restaurant that, the cuisine that does maximum number of orders, I will launch that. But during that time, the business head also enters the room. He says, I don't care. You might sell able to sell 100 idlis, but I even sell 10 biryanis, I will get more profit. So order is not important. What I want to maximize is my profit. Then the chefs go to the market and finds out this data. What is the order value of each? Then to make the food also you need cost, right? To make biryani, you need rice, you need chicken, you need all those things. To make idli also you need. There is a cost. There is a labor cost. So he gets the cost and all these details. Now, finally, the business head and the what you call the owner was about to decide. Then the operations head of who comes. He says, you cannot go ahead and make everything. My kitchen has a capacity. If there are 10 ovens, you can make 10 cakes at a time. He tells, these are my capacity. Beyond that, I cannot make. Now, finally, after all the three inputs, you have to decide. Okay. You have to decide then finally which cuisine should restaurant owner actually start. The marking will be done in a group on the basis of 4 parameters, right? Methodology, accuracy of calculation, PPT quality, and communication and presentation. Remember why I told methodology? If you take these 10 cuisines, sorry, North Indian, okay, I can say, I can find average mean also. I can find median also. Why to choose mean and why to choose median? When to choose mean and when to choose median? That thinking you all have to do. So this is a example of a case study that I wanted to showcase to you. So I'll stop sharing the screen. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment.